shared philosophy on life. See, when I was just a young, foolish little lad, my life philosophy was, if you expect disappointment, then you can never really be disappointed. Years later, I am still like MJ from Spider-Man because I later figured out that is a horrible life philosophy and that optimism is the way to go. Here's why. First off, optimistic people are logically more likely to succeed. Think about it this way. When faced with an opportunity, who is more likely to try? Someone who thinks they will succeed or someone who thinks they will fail? Obviously, okay. Obviously, someone who thinks they will succeed. Hold on. Okay. Don't worry. And now, who's more likely to succeed? Someone who tries or someone who doesn't try? Clearly, someone who tries. As you can see from my comprehensive chart, if you think you will succeed, you are more likely to succeed. And we all know from our friend Zach Did I get the wrong presentation? Dang it. Sent the wrong copy of the presentation. Okay, never mind the PowerPoint. So, as we all know from our friend Zach Meyer, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So, better to be optimistic and try than to give up before even trying. Sure, you might still be single after asking someone out, but you also might not, so you may as well shoot your shot. Similarly, thinking positively also helps you see solutions rather than problems, thus improving the way you deal with situations. Furthermore, like Mr. Bouchard says, we are human beings. And as human beings, we just love to be right. We suffer from a bad case of confirmation bias. More on that during my TEDx speech, show up to TEDx. But for now, this is where people cherry pick information that proves themselves right. So if you expect the worst outcome, you're going to focus on everything that proves you right. And you may go as far as to self-sabotage yourself or your situation to prove yourself right. Say you decide to go to a weekend animation, for example, and you expect it's going to be a big bummer. Well, why would you try to make it fun? It's going to be boring anyways, right? And then you'll go and you say, none of my friends went, I didn't talk to anyone, and I slipped on the ice on the way there. It was so boring. Well, of course it was. You didn't even try to make it fun. You didn't give it a chance. So whether you think something will be great or something will be horrible, you'll probably be right either way. This applies not only to situations, but also to your self-esteem. As Albert Einstein said, if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid. The only way that you'll be happy with yourself is if you find the positive. You'll never be happy with yourself if you only see your flaws. You'll always think the worst of yourself. And lastly, positive people are simply more fun to be around. It's always more fun to be around someone who's positive and encouraging than someone who's constantly complaining. So if you're not convinced yet, back to our MJ philosophy here. If you do think positive and then you get quote-unquote disappointed, then what? Well, first, thinking positive doesn't mean naively thinking everything's going to be sunshine and rainbows, because obviously that's not the case. You can still focus on the positive while not totally ignoring the negative. If something ends up bad, well, you knew that was a possibility, it happens. But you just brush it off your shoulder and keep going. In the words of our friend Sienna Webster, you can't control what happens, but you can control how you react. In other words, your attitude. So if you would consider yourself a pessimist, I would encourage you to be mindful of your thoughts and reconsider the way you think in a way that actually benefits you. Being more positive changed my life, and it could change yours too. Be positive. Thank you very much.